Welcome to Becoming Your Own BFF with host Randy Haveson. Let's agree that life gives us hurdles, but how often do we turn those hurdles into walls? Randy will give you strategies to break down the walls and clear the hurdles that are in your way. The goal of the show is to help you find happiness and joy at levels you didn't even know existed. Becoming Your Own BFF starts now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's show. I am honored and humbled that you are here today. Again, as always, if there's anything that you hear that you want more information on, that you want to expand on, that you would like assistance with, feel free to shoot me an email, contact me however you can through my website. That's probably one of the easiest ways, or my email address, randy@randyhaveson.com. But I definitely want to hear from you and what's working, what's not working. I want to talk about making progress because a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves. We look so far in the future and we see how we want things to be that we lose track of what's going on right now and taking a look at the little steps along the way. Such as a week ago when I did this podcast or recording, the walls were bare. There was nothing up. I didn't have any furniture in here. I just had the drums and that was it. But in this last week, things are starting to come together. Now, is it perfect and exactly the way I want it? No. But is it better today than it was before? Yes. One of my favorite sayings, as we look ahead at how far we still have to go, what's more important is looking behind us at how far we've already come. I mean, if only we could put that focus on it and what things were like and how much progress we've made, then we have more of an opportunity to treat ourselves with kindness and dignity and respect and more like a best friend rather than a worse bully. So making progress, and that's what it's all about. You're going to see things continue to shift and change in here, but that's all good. As I shift and change, my world shifts and changes. So you're going to see some things different. And that's what I want to project here is that it's a life of progress, not perfection. And as long as you're going to bed happy with happier today than you were yesterday and last week about who you are, where you fit in the world, the difference that you're making with other people, that's what creates happiness. And that's what I'm looking to help you do through these programs. So, topic today is, yes, making progress. But there's another thing that kind of struck me that I want to talk about. I just had lunch before I did this recording. And one of my favorite shows to watch is American Ninja Warrior. I love it. I just eat those up. They're just so inspiring to me. I mean, these are athletes that blow me away with what they can do. And the coolest part of it is that even though they're competing with each other, they're friends, they're rooting each other on, they're supporting each other. Some of them have amazing stories. And even that they're there competing is amazing. And what they've lived through and survived through, it's just really, really inspirational. I highly recommend that show if you're just looking for some inspiration. And again, I don't think I've ever watched the show and I've had the thought, wow, well, they're so much better at this than I am. Wow, if I could do this, no, it's not even a thought. In fact, I just thought about it now as something that some people might think. They might not like the show because they compare themselves with the people who are competing and for some reason feel less than. But again, comparing ourselves with others is just a trap of the ego. I'm not a fan of comparing you with anybody else. You are the most unique you that you can be. The Olympics just finished. Even the one who won the bronze medal did something spectacular, even though they didn't get the gold. Even the person who crossed the finish line last did something that 99.9% of the population couldn't do. So it's about being proud of our achievements for what they are rather than comparing them to anybody else's. And in Ninja Warrior, to watch these kids and adults flying around and all the things that they can do. It blows me away. But again, the part that really gets to me is the support that they have for each other. Training partners get up and they have to compete against each other. And when one falls, the other like supports them and cheers them on. It's like, hey, it's okay. And the one who fell cheers on the one who's still going. Wouldn't it be awesome if our societies operated that way? That we were able to support everybody, even when we failed, we could still support those who kept on going and not thinking, oh, I'm such a failure. But no, keep on going, because we all do our best at everything that we do. There are days I wake up and I'm not feeling 100%. I'm maybe feeling 60%, 40%. So when I go through my day, I don't beat myself up. Oh, I barely did anything today. No, I'll say, you know what? I did the best I could today because I didn't have a lot of sleep last night, because I'm under a lot of stress right now. So I give myself grace and respect to have whatever day I'm going to have and do the best that I can. Every time I do one of these, I do the best I can. Are they perfect every time? No. In fact, they're probably never perfect. There are always spots where I probably mess up. I say things weird. One time I was doing a recording and a bug hit me in the nose and it totally threw me off. There are always things that happen, but am I doing the best that I can in each one of these? Absolutely. I put 100% of me into everything that I do. When I do this, God, when I go over to the mall, I live really close to a very cool mall. And I go over there and there's some of my favorite shops. And I go in and, I haven't even been here a full 3 weeks yet, but there's some I like going in because just the vibe in there is so cool. And there are already like 3 or 4 places where I walk in and they go, Randy, hi. I'm like, hey, how's your day going? And we spend some time talking and it's so much fun. 3 weeks. I haven't even been here 3 weeks yet. So it's about, what do you want your presentation to the world to be? Is it, don't talk to me? Is it, if you really knew who I was, you wouldn't want to talk to me? Or is it, what can I give to the world today? How can I just be me and be out there and be happy and inspire people? And that's what I want to do. One of the things I thought when I left Orlando and I had that very cool job at Disney where I was able to make magic all day long for people and make them smile, make them laugh. My saying was, if I can make you smile, great. If I can make you laugh, even better. If I can inspire you, that's where the magic happens. And that was what I lived by when I was there. And I made a lot of magic for people, and I made people cry. I made people laugh. I inspired them. I mean, I had one person who came back. She said, Randy, do you remember me? I said, no, I don't. She said, last year I was here and I was about to take my LSAT. And you kind of gave me some tips and inspired me. And you gave me this little wooden coin, which I still have. And she showed me she still had the coin. She said, I took that with me to the LSAT. And you know what? I passed. Who gets to do stuff like that? Who gets to? So I am so grateful that I was in a position to be able to do that. And one of the things I was going to miss most about Orlando was having that job and being able to do that for people. And I had a friend who said, but here's the thing, Randy, you're going to take the magic wherever you are. You're going to be able to make magic wherever you go. When you get to San Diego, you're going to find ways to do that too. Maybe not to the extent that you do in Orlando, but you will. And you know what? I am. And these people at the different restaurants and stores that I go to. And I love going in there and I give people free books and I sign it for them and give them a book. And they're like, oh my God, thank you. And for me, it's such an easy thing to do. I sign a book, I get all these author copies at really good prices. And for me to give away, 10 or 20 is no big deal. So it's about, what can I do to make the world a better place today? And when I watch American Ninja Warrior, I get inspired with what they can do. Even if they fall on the first obstacle, just being out there is so freaking cool. So, could you imagine living in a world where we supported each other, where we encouraged each other, where we didn't compare us with anyone else, and we allowed people to be as successful as they could be? If it was a world without ego, because that's the thing too. Most of the people, even when they complete the course, they're proud of themselves. They hit that buzzer. They're like, yeah. But it's not hey, look at me. Look how cool I am. Look what I just did. That's not the attitude of most of them. Most of them is like, oh my God, I worked so hard to get here and I just did it. Can you imagine if our world was like that? Can you imagine if there was no more, competition for power or more money, greed and power and ego? I just watch it tearing our societies apart. Here in the United States, there's I'm going to get into the politics, but I want to get into the feeling and the attitude of the us versus them and the ego and the greed. And, we need to be better than you. And if we win, it was fair. If you win, it was rigged. I mean, come on. That's just an example of ego run rampant. And when you look around the world, wouldn't it be great if rather than creating more billionaires, that the billionaires, I love what Bill Gates is doing in taking most of his fortune and putting it to use in impoverished areas, helping with education and doing all those things. I mean, if more of the billionaires did that, God, think about how much better our world would be. Just to kind of share with you what my future goal is, my dream is that these take off and my book sales take off and people joining Club 528 takes off and everything that I'm doing takes off to the point where I'm making a ton of money, millions and millions of dollars. I want to make millions and millions of dollars. And here's why. I have a philanthropy that I want to do. I want to create housing, like buy an apartment building and house it and staff it with like counseling interns, people who want to go into social work and things like that. And what I want to do is invite foster kids who have aged out of the system. They're 18, and I want them to be able to live in the apartment complex for free. And as long as they're going to school, going to college, getting their GED or working, they get to live there for free. And we're going to help with resume building and how to dress for an interview, how to sign up for classes, how to just take one or two classes and ease your way into it rather than starting with a full load. And we're going to pay for everything. And I'm planning to start a nonprofit and I'm going to get donations and the money that I make through my work is going to go to fund this. And the hope is that this continues to grow so I can have entire communities in different cities around the country, hopefully around the world, because my view, I don't remember what movie I was watching, but it started with a girl who, for her 18th birthday, so it was animated, and someone came to her and said, "Hi, honey, are you ready?" She said, "Yeah, I guess so." And she was in her bedroom. She picked up all of her possessions in a big garbage bag, a plastic garbage bag, and walked out of the room. And they got in the car. There was music playing, and they got in the car, and they got to this place and walked up and opened a door. And it was like a one-bedroom room in a rooming house or an apartment. I don't even know what it was. And she said, "Okay, well, good luck, honey, and happy birthday." It was this kid's 18th birthday. She was a foster child. She aged out of the system, and they put her in this room. And I remember she curled up into a ball on the bed, and it broke my heart. And I'm thinking, how many kids are out there like this? And it was about her story and what she did and how she managed to make ends meet and do her life. But I'm thinking, foster kids, it's not their fault. They didn't do anything to cause the situation that they're in. They're total victims of a horrible situation. And I want to help them go from victim to victor. I want to help them see that where you begin the journey will not necessarily determine where you're going to end up. And I want to give them opportunities to grow and learn. And yeah, they're all going to get a free copy of my book and lectures. And I want to do a lot of workshops and talk to the kids and see what I can do and get life coaches to go in and work with them. If they need medication, we'll have doctors and psychiatrists. I want to give these kids full support so that they can be as successful as they want to be. I'm sure there are some amazing people who are aging out of the system who have incredible talent. If they were only given the opportunity, then they would be able to thrive. And that's why I want my business to be successful. I don't need the huge house with all the stuff and the big car. I don't need all that in order to be happy. I mean, I want to be comfortable, but I don't need a lot of bling in order for me to be happy. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And that's the big dream. And hopefully it's going to happen. And whether it does or not, it's not, I don't know. That's the bottom line. I don't know. But all I can do today is take the next step forward in order to get there. And how I do that right now is by doing this program for you. And hopefully you enjoy it. It inspires you. And you tell your friends, hey, I just listened to this podcast, or I just watched this video. Oh my God, this guy, I love his message. And he's so real with the way he does it. You got to check this out. And you know what? I just bought his book. That's what I'm looking for here. And it's not so that I can walk down the street and be like, hey, aren't you Randy Haveson? That's not what it's about. I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool when that happens, but that's not the goal. The goal is not fame. The goal is not riches. The goal is to make a difference in the lives of others so that they can build a life of happiness and joy, so that you can get out of your own way and have the life that you want and start treating yourself like a best friend rather than a bully. And you can do it. I know you can do it. You know how I know you can do it? If I can do it, you can do it. I've shared this before. If this is the first time you're seeing me or the second time and you missed the first couple episodes, there was a point in my life when I was 24 years old when I thought it was over. I remember I got kicked out of college for the second time. I got fired from a job delivering pizza, and I was sitting on the edge of my bed thinking, how am I going to do this? And I thought, you know what? I'll just close my bedroom door and put a note on it that said, don't come in, just call 911. I'll sit in the bathtub so that I don't make a mess for anyone to have to clean up. And I got out a dive knife that my parents gave me as a gift one year. I'm a scuba diver. And I knew that you cut down and not across if you were really serious, but I didn't know if I could cut one and then cut the other. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just slice open my throat instead. And I looked up into the mirror to see where to start. And then I made eye contact and went, what are you doing? And all of a sudden it occurred to me, you need help. And I did the most difficult thing I've ever done in my whole life. I picked up the phone. It sounds, oh yeah, I just picked up the phone and dialed this number. No, it took me 45 minutes because I remember I walked across the street and I saw this billboard for the number of a hotline. And I picked up the phone and I dialed the numbers. And I remember I dialed 4 numbers and hung up. What do I say? I don't know. And finally, after 45 minutes, I dialed all the numbers. It rang. Someone answered and said, hi, how can I help you? And I talked to that woman for about an hour and a half, and I truly believe she saved my life. And that was the beginning of my journey, to start putting my life together. I had to stop doing drugs. I had to stop drinking. I had to stop treating myself like shit. I had to start becoming a decent human being. I was a liar, a cheat, and a thief. The things that I did, I am not proud of, but I have forgiven myself because that was who I was, and it is not who I am. And I worked really, really hard. I read a lot of books. I went to therapy. I journaled. I did everything I could possibly do in order to become a better person. And here I am 40 years later. So don't think you've been doing this for 6 months. How come you don't have it down yet? It takes a while. You don't just wake up one day and decide to run a marathon. It takes a while to practice and to train and to get your body used to doing it and building the muscle memory and running 1 mile, 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles, 26. It takes a while. And building self-esteem and all those years of programming that you had and that you've taken on yourself to treat yourself like a bully, to turn that around and to start treating yourself like a best friend and start building self-esteem rather than reinforcing ego, it doesn't happen overnight. Those people who are finishing those ninja courses, they train for years. And there's so many more that are in ninja gyms wanting to get on the show, wanting to hit a buzzer. And maybe they never will. Maybe they will. But the thing is, they're part of a community of support and encouragement, and each individual is improving at their own pace. That's what it's about. That's the world that I want to help create, that we're all working together. It's a we over me. It's not about me. What can I do today to make my life, to be more successful than others? I will hurt someone else in order for me to be more successful. It's not what it's about. What can I do to help someone else? Because when I do that, I feel better about me. And yeah, if I can do this, you can do this. So find your talents, find your special purpose, find whatever it is that you're supposed to be here to do. And the number one thing that I say over and over and over and over, the main thing is to just stay out of your own way. Because again, we tend to be our own worst enemies and our own worst bullies. And if we turn that around, stay out of our own way, anything is possible. So I think I'm done for today. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Again, randyhaveson.com. If you want any information, if you want to find out where to get my book, get in touch with me for coaching. I'm opening up my coaching practice again. I am limiting it at the beginning to only 10 clients because I don't want to do too much too quickly. So I'm going to start slow. We're going to be opening up Club 528 again. You can go to my website to get more information about that. But let me know what I can do to help you out. That's what I'm here for. So have a wonderful week. Enjoy the rest of today, whatever it is you have. Find 3 things today that you have to be grateful for. And by focusing on that, you'll find that you just feel a little bit better. So you take care, and I'll hopefully see you again. Take care. Bye.
You've been listening to Becoming Your Own BFF with your host, Randy Haveson. Tune in every Friday at 1:30 Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com for more tools to stop being your own worst bully and start becoming your own best friend. Learn essential skills to boost self-esteem and overcome the devastating effects of ego. By focusing on physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being, you can start listening to your best friend voice rather than your inner bully voice. For more information, visit randyhaveson.com.